often think that businessmen are evil somehow. What do you think of this misconception?
Well, I think it's completely mistaken as long as the businessmen like Jeff Bezos have earned their wealth honestly, by which I mean they have earned it by producing value and trading with others and not by using force, such as the government supporting them in particular ways. So you saw this in Rand's works. A lot of her heroes are business people, businessmen and businesswomen, who have, through their own thinking and their own efforts, have either created or grown or maintained incredible businesses. And the fundamental reason is that Rand saw a business person as creating a value, as being productive. And without productivity, we cannot live. Human beings cannot survive. Whether you're on a desert island or in the middle of New York, you still depend on production for survival. And businessmen and business people facilitate that, and often in ways that are incredibly interesting and innovative as well. So they really drive living standards for everybody.
What would you say is the moral take on abortion?
Sure. So in my personal opinion, I think that first we have to recognize the aspect of rights. So fetuses, because they cannot make decisions, and rights are freedoms of action, so you have to act on a decision, fetuses cannot do that. They cannot make decisions, they cannot take actions. So for that reason, I think they do not have rights. As opposed to a woman who happens to be carrying a child, has a whole entire life, makes all kinds of decisions, has goals, relationships, and so on. And for that reason, she has the right to live her life as she sees fit. So the first thing to recognize is that it should be legal for people to have an abortion. However, that does not mean it is always moral in every circumstance, and there are a lot of surrounding contexts that you would want to take into account. For example, if you would want to do it as early as possible, recognizing, of course, that some women don't know they are pregnant for a very long time. So it's a full context decision when you're talking about morality. But I think first you have to recognize that because no rights are being violated by having an abortion, but stopping a woman from living her life by not allowing her to have an abortion is violating her rights. So that's the first, the most fundamental thing morally.
Why is capitalism a moral system?
But capitalism protects individual rights so that everyone is free to act on his or her own judgment as long as they don't stop other people from doing the same thing. And it also rewards people who are productive by giving them money and access to other things. So it rewards producers, and in that sense is a very just system.
Is it good to be selfish?
Yes, if you have the right definition of selfishness.
Okay.
If you look at, we were talking about businessmen being portrayed as greedy and evil, if you look at that as selfish, then, I mean, maybe not, but if you look at selfish as being what is genuinely in your rational interest, then yes, and that does not mean hurting other people. Except in self-defense, it's never in your self-interest to hurt other people. And this gets packaged in. Selfishness gives us this vision of people stepping over others to get ahead. That's not really selfish because it's not in your self-interest. Another example, people will say drug addicts are being really selfish, but actually they're destroying their lives. So that's not very good for themselves, is it? So if you have an idea of being selfish as putting your genuine rational interests first, things like your health, your career, your healthy relationships, other people can be huge values to us, and if they are, then you want to treat them well. So then you can grow your relationship with them, whether it's business or personal. So if you have a good conception of selfishness, then being selfish is good.